Hi guys. The date is the 2nd of February, and I just wanted to make a video talking about kind of online gambling and just a little bit about my experience with it, and maybe me talking about how am starting to solve it. Well, I'll be able to see if it actually works, my strategy to solve it, and maybe people can learn from that. So I've had a long journey with online gambling. I mean, it started when I first got into crypto. I got introduced to it through scrolling on my phone and seeing viral things about people playing that Plinko game where the ball falls down and hits a multiplier, and I wanted to try it, so I found a website that would let me deposit from my bank account without verifying ID, and I turned like 200 into 600, and then I put it on my bank account, and I was like really impressed. And then over the next couple of months, I just consistently lost. I lost my entire crypto portfolio that I just started building when I first found out about crypto. And then I lost all the money I had in my bank account. And when I got my first job as a waiter at a cafe, every check I would just lose it for like 2 weeks. And then I quit for a long time. I focused on school and my job at working as a waiter. And then right about the time, I talked about this in my experience with money video, but right about the time I got back into crypto and I made $2,000, or actually no, that's not it. I was given $2,000 for a project. I gambled that and lost it, and that was money I owed, so I had to pay that back eventually. And then later on, when I made my big 25K USD, I gambled half of that, deposited the other half to my bank account and spent it. And then later on, I gambled and lost maybe 600. And these are like between each of these times, it's a couple of months at least. And then after I lost that 600, I was so done. I was never gambling again, because I really felt I was never gambling again when I lost half of my 25K I made. But then I did it again, and I lost the 600, which was all the money in my bank account. So I was like, okay, I need to go do something to remember how much I hate this feeling of losing all my money gambling. So I was on our farm at the time, and I was alone, and I just went and I just sat outside in the cold for 30 minutes or so, all wet, and I just sat there just so that I would remember. I would rather sit in the cold covered in water freezing instead of feel the feeling of losing all my money gambling again. And last night I gambled maybe 1,200 away, and I'm in a much healthier mindset than I used to be, and so I can kind of look at this constructively, and I've decided that I'm not going to blame myself for it. Obviously, it was not the right thing to do, and I shouldn't have done it, but I'm not going to say, oh, this is my fault, how could I do this again? I'm not going to shame myself for it. I'm going to look at it and see if there's an actual way to fix the problem, which I've been thinking about most of today, and I think I've come to the conclusion on how to actually solve it. So the main thing is it's a bad habit. That's what it is. It's a really addicting habit. And with habits, there's triggers. And what triggered this was, first of all, it was 1 a.m., so I had very low self-control. It was, and I'm not trying to say these as excuses, I'm trying to analyze the environment so I don't end up in this position again. And then I just lost some money doing the finance and investing stuff, so I was down money. It was 1 a.m. and I was watching a video on YouTube about like probabilities and that, and it said that blackjack game was the best probability in gambling, and that just triggered everything again. And I was just like, and I just like went on the computer and I was like, okay, this is gonna be my final thing ever. This is gonna be the last time. And I deposited all the money from, or 1,200 into a gambling site I used to use. And it felt wrong the whole time I was doing it. I knew I should stop, but I kept, every time I thought I should stop, I just kept picturing me winning. And then I load up the site and put all of it on one hand of blackjack, and actually, I didn't only lose, it was actually pretty funny. I got an ace, and then I got a 7, and the dealer had a 3 showing. And then the dealer got an 8 and a 10. So the dealer pulled 21 when I was saying on nice 18, which was a bit of a bummer. Yeah. And so I lost it all. I went to bed and I just like laid in my bed. I'm so upset at myself, and it's just that feeling you get right when it's gone, and the euphoria of imagining the win is gone, and you're just sitting there and like, I just lost my entire paycheck. That's a 2-week paycheck for me. I just lost it. And yeah, my bank account is actually empty right now. I had to use the rest of my money on fuel, and it's a bit, and I've got no one to blame but myself. So now I have to wait till next paycheck and just not buy much till then, which is in about 2 weeks. But as I was saying, I got a bit off track there. If I'm looking at my environment, 1 a.m. watching a gambling video after losing money, watching a video about gambling, horrible situation. And it also is not the environment I want to build for myself. So in order to not be put in that position again, obviously if I am in that position again, I would hope that after looking at this event without shame or blame, I can objectively see it as something I shouldn't do. But trying to avoid that situation, I'm going to first of all be getting better sleep. And first of all, get better sleep. Second of all, I'm going to probably take all my devices and shut them down. And maybe even put them out of my room on the table, just because I get better sleep if they're not here. I'm not like just like really wanting to go on them and do stuff. And I'm gonna read before bed, obviously. But I'm also going to avoid triggers. Like, I'm not gonna watch gambling videos or people who promote gambling, and that's hard nowadays. And that's why online gambling is so bad, is there's everything trying to trigger you. There's ads, there's your favorite YouTubers, there's everything. But you just gotta work on shaping your environment so you can avoid it. Because I'm seeing this more and more nowadays. Like, everyone's like, or a lot of people is like, oh, I've got this problem, and like I can't stop scrolling, I can't stop gambling. But it's human nature with habits, and everything has a trigger. And nowadays, the big companies are trying to make triggers unavoidable. Like how all your friends on Instagram, you want to message them, but Reels will always be one tap away. And have you seen the thing where you swipe, like try to swipe back to your home page, they switched all the Instagram things. So when you try to swipe back to your home page, it instantly takes you to Reels. And when you go onto someone's page and start scrolling on their Reels, it makes you scroll up one and then go out just to get out of it. Because it's not 100% your fault. Obviously, there are things you can do to change it, but the system's rigged against you. Like with gambling, you'll have all these triggers. With scrolling, you have all these triggers, and you can't just delete Instagram because all your friends are on it. And everybody's just like, oh, just have them message your phone number. And you can do that, but you're making them put extra effort. And then in turn, you have to put extra effort. So just to avoid scrolling, it's not just, oh, I'm going to stop scrolling. It's, oh, I have to put in extra effort, and I have to make other people put in extra effort just so I can stop this bad habit. And another thing is, like, a lot of people might say just change who your friends are. If they're people who are scrolling, you don't want them as your friends. But that doesn't seem right to me, because I like a lot of my friends. I really like these people, and I like hanging out with them. It's just they happen to scroll. And even though I don't want to do that, because I want to try to keep my head clear and without brain fog, if they want to scroll, then that's okay with me, you know? I mean, I like them as people. I enjoy hanging out with them, so, you know, it's not like dragging me down or anything. I don't have that many high goals. I just prefer to not have brain fog. Yeah, I went off on a little tangent there. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about online gambling a little bit, how it's affected me, and maybe this video, if it does end up getting seen by anyone, maybe it'll help them out a little bit. But yeah, that's the end of the video.